You know, you should forgive me for faking the recipe, hiding on you, and hiding at your girlfriend's house. Oh yeah? Why's that? Because I forgive you for not reviewing the Charli. What? No. 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 I'm gonna do it now. Good luck, Chuck. Or should I say Charli? Hello one, hello all, it's the most brattiest ghost of them all, Casper in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Charli XCX BRAT. This is the latest album from UK singer, songwriter, pop artist, the Queen, Charli XCX. And she is pulling from all sections of the 2000s here, from Madonna, Body Rocks, Kanye, and even the late great electronic producer Sophie, who she has worked with in the past, who she brings a tribute to later on in this album. And this album is mostly produced by her fiance, George Daniel, mostly from AJ Cook, and even Hudson Mohawk on this album, who she has also worked with on the past on her fantastic album, Charli. That was a very glossy, futuristic, pristine adventure with catchy hooks, pushing the lines of creativity when it came to pop, and even a very personal and great hyperpop banger of an album, How I'm Feeling Now, which was a quarantine album during COVID. And then we had the very vastly disappointing Crash, which to me was a sonic nightmare and not in a good way. But this time she is back and she is not fucking around at all. And there's songs in here where she is showing various emotions. And in opposed to other pop acts that flex for vanity, this album is not a vanity project whatsoever. So it's not flexing, it's not vain, it's definitely not impersonal either. In fact, it's very personal. And going into this, I was definitely excited, especially with singles like Von Dutch and a series of bangers to follow that. But to be honest, Von Dutch had to grow on me through time. But with more listens, I've grown to love the elastic warp production on here. The whole thing sounds like a tripped out Prodigy video. Also, conceptually, the song is a shot to her audience, but those with ill intent, who won't admit their secret admiration for her, where they're coming off as antagonists, but in actuality, they are obsessive protagonists. It's a very hard-hitting, defiant banger. And I feel when Charli comes through with her best stuff, in my opinion, a majority of it really comes from the past and manages to give a wild, otherworldly experience when it comes to dabbling with the likes of Electropop, as she's done in the past, but also bringing in Jersey Club, Electroclash, Electro House, Bubblegum Bass, which is featured on the 2-pack singles that were fire from front to back, containing club classics that has a thumping beat, dreamy cast of synths, that is bombarded with this barrage of walls of nocturnal synth chords, and bass, a lot of bass. As Charli is painting this picture of her indulging in the club life, just being absorbed into it, feeling embrace of the bright lights, perspiring from the dancing and letting it show through her outfit, and not stopping till the sun rises. And not only that, but a fantastic reference to most of the production that's on this album, as I alluded to earlier. Saying she wants to dance to George, she wants to dance to and Mo, and even Sophie, who all play a key thematic role in this album. I feel like she definitely captured the club essence down to a T that I could see going down as a huge club anthem. And quite honestly, I see this whole album going down as a club anthem. Like this whole thing is like a club album, but a great one, a very conceptual one. Like this whole thing feels like a night at the club, but also giving breaks in between with not only bangers, but also very intimate ballads too. And not only that, but the hooks are insanely catchy. Jesus Christ. The melodies, the hooks just instantly latch onto my memory banks. And the grooves here are insane. I'm so Julia, back to back to back. And there's also back to back, which geniusly pans, not only delivering one of the stickiest hooks here, but also has a fat, chunky bass with these droning siren-like synths underneath that create these eerie melodies, but has these amplified, shy to expressive vocals from Charli that break into these repetitious leads, that breaks into this galactic syncopation between the synths and the vocals, which narratively shows Charli in a place of insecurity and being aware of her unhealthy patterns and uncertainty in a relationship, but also trying to regain her strength and not wanting emotions to break her down, which the Apple, which later on proceeds very well. And there's also 360, the opener on this album, where Charli likens herself to iconic women that she admires, such as Gabriette, an American model and also a musician, who is handpicked by Charli to form a band. And also, I could be going off speculation, but I do think there are jabs at Camilla here, who has consistently been mocking Charli throughout her career, and who she also has a rivalry with. And not a small mockery, mind you, no, a very obsessive mockery. And Charli is letting it known she is the only one, and not caring what critics think whatsoever, including me, and dropping a line that she is so Julia, which has become a online phrase that has gone insanely viral, which is meaning someone who is down to earth, impressing others, beloved by others while simultaneously caring for others, just being super magnetic and admirable. There's also moments here that show Charli's vulnerability, whether it's in a volatile, deep concerning way, or doubts in a relationship leading to self-harm, issues with family, but she does sound like she is on the brink of destruction, especially on the track Sympathy as a Knife, with this heavy and thunderous synth bass, creating these powerful melodies, coalescing with these sharp, murderous keys. In a way, I feel like this is what Lightning was trying to do, but Charli absolutely nailed it here. And I feel like the bare moments with the synth and the drums really do remind me of MIA in her first album, with the futuristic nocturnal quality of a New Order song, which also I would say the Apple as well is New Order coded with sprinkles of Depeche Mode on there. And the flow of the album is absolutely fantastic, as I feel one track really complements the next, really precedes the next, and really tells a story, especially as this one leads into the very dreary, I might say something stupid, as Charli shares a very somber moment as she feels outcasted, doubting herself, feeling like she's not an anomaly, and maybe not the star she aims to be. But I truly love how the last word links perfectly into the next track, which is Talk Talk, which is a vibrant, glistening, synthy banger that's very flirty about how she shares her attraction and developing relationship with George Daniel of the 1975, who is now her fiance, about meeting him, approaching him, talking to him, developing a relationship with him. It's very cute, and I love the infectious hook on here. Talk, talk, we should talk. As Charli is just yearning for his attention and just his admiration that she shares for him, showing a mix of thoughts and emotions. It's a very beautiful, very touching moment. And the more I listen to this album, the more Charli shares her deepest, most darkest thoughts on here, which also correlates to time capsules and memories, but correlated to present times. Like on Think About It All the Time, which we will get into later, but there's also Rewind, as she reflects back to the simpler times, before the fame, before the feelings of body dysmorphia, or enjoying her life, burning CDs, polishing her toes. And I feel like this is a way more glitchy experimental version of 1999 that also reflects on the past. It's kind of like a sequel in a way. And I love how the track has this transitional moment with reverse effects sonically that goes into a very meditative, dreamy bridge that maybe correlates to her reminiscing, which leads to another moment of memory, and this one is definitely a heavy one. It's a very moving one. Honestly, the most heavy and moving track on this album, which is a reflection of a very devastating and tragic loss not only to the queer community, but also to the electronic genre and culture, which is the sudden passing of Sophie, sharing how she was inspirational to her, how much of an undeniable hero she was, and also feeling guilt as turning down her invite from her to come into her home and stay for dinner, and wishing she had spent more time with her until her untimely demise. And there's a lot of beauty of this track, sharing how she lives on through the music, how her legacy continues through the art that she made, which has the beautiful, empowering sample and interpolation, "Okay to Cry," which shares how working with her and inspirational to her as the loss of this individual has happened, how it's okay to cry, it's okay to show emotion, and I feel this correlates beautifully to the title. It's contextually gorgeous and very heart-wrenching. After that, we have Girl So Confusing, which shows conflicting emotions of being a woman and the complexities of it, wanting to unify with other women but being uncertain of their motives, not knowing if they want to show love and support or bring a hostile situation, conflict, while simultaneously trying to bridge a gap and collaborate. And also learning the differences, also learning the similarities they have, how they're different in ways, how each woman is different in a way, how they are similar in a way. It's very introspective and pretty much a philosophical moment from Charli here. It's very confessional, but also another vulnerable one, as well as everything is romantic, which is easily the most epic track on this album, with how cinematic it is, how gorgeous and decadent and dramatic the strings are, into this pounding, angular breakdown, but also lyrically eye-grabbing too, as Charli pulls together these words creatively, creating this imagery, creating the scenery while speaking on falling in love, even if the situation looks bleak or dismal. And I love the lyrical repetitions at the end with these heavenly robotic vocals. That feels like ascending with Charli. It's a very beautiful and religious experience, and I'm not even religious. And the song The Apple, which is very New Order coded, Depeche Mode sprinkle coded, and the synths are so bright and colorful, and I love how they complement the pumping bass and definitely contrast the darkness of this song as well. So as up-tempo this track is sonically, it's pretty dark lyrically, actually very dark, very dark, as Charli is sharing her resentment of her family and escape the conflict of her parents, which sequentially complements back to back, which I mentioned before, which leads to an absolutely exuberant and anthemic banger, Mean Girls. This one is for the mean girls. But as we look into the verses, as exuberant as this track is, as how much of an anthem this track is, it's also a very standout one, also a very important one, as many of these tracks are, that has these depictions of these women that have been outcasted, demonized by the public for their party lifestyle choices and also their personalities. And I love the fantastic jazzy piano breakdown at the end. Totally unexpected, but man, totally works. And there's Think About It All the Time, as this correlates to the topic of family that's on this album, but also Charli herself as she visits these friends and sees their newborn child and starts pondering on her future, see if she should be a mother, and lives rent-free in her head that she is limited on time, but also if she's even prepared to have a child, and could be simultaneously linked to fallout of family on this due to the complicated relationship between her and her parents. And there's the closer, 365, that geniusly flips and obviously complements 360, where I feel this is a reflection, a flip on how Charli is just being 100% herself, just living out her life throughout the flaws, the turmoil, the tumultuous thoughts, the intrusive thoughts, where she has just shown growth, understanding, and lets it all out loud and proud, and really culminates and reflects the rebellious party girl, truly a star, truly an icon, an absolute talent that's realized confidence, that's realized her worth, and definitely an artist that others will fail to replicate. And also what's amazing about this album is how not only gives personality and insight, but also how simultaneously every hook here hits, every melody hits, no matter the context, whether it's a banger or whether it's a ballad. Provided with a lot of variation and moods, but also doesn't lose focus as well. And how there's a correlation between each song. And you could point out the auto-tune, but the auto-tune does add character, it adds personality, and I feel if you're pointing that out, you're not contextualizing her art. Because this album is her inner thoughts, her inner feelings, and really her diary to really create this world. And although she is reflecting on the past, there's definitely a very futuristic tone to this album. And I feel it adds a very futuristic, cyber, artistic world that Charli has just invited us to. That really enhances the personality of this album, and she's not using it as a crutch. So yeah, amazing album. Honestly, could be the best of the year so far, hands down. Best pop record of the year, possibly the decade. And man, I'm feeling the blackest 5 out of 5 hearts on this album. No 5 out of 5 lime green hearts on this album. Friggin' loving it. Friggin' loving it. Whew. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling. How are you feeling about this? Are you loving it? Are you hating it? And why? Why are you hating it? But also, you know, tell me why you're loving it too. Oh man, Caspa, Got the Ghost, Charli XCX, BRAT, till we meet again.